Hello, future chemists. Welcome to an exciting journey through chemical bonding and molecular structure. Today, we are diving deep into a fascinating concept, resonance. Ever wondered why some molecules seem to have multiple identities, or why they're much more stable than they appear? We'll uncover these mysteries together. This session is structured across 4 levels: easy, medium, hard, and hardest, ensuring you build a strong foundation and master this crucial topic for GME. Let's begin. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is resonance, and why do we need this concept in chemistry? Imagine you're trying to draw a single picture of a complex character, but no single drawing can capture all their traits. Resonance is similar. It's a theoretical concept used when a single Lewis structure can't accurately represent the true bonding in a molecule or ion. Instead, we draw multiple resonance structures or canonical forms to show how electrons are delocalized. The actual molecule isn't any one of these, it's a resonance hybrid, a blend of all of them, which is far more stable. For resonance to happen, you typically need alternating single and multiple bonds, or lone pairs next to a multiple bond, and the atoms must lie in the same plane. So, we have these individual resonance structures, but they aren't real. The real molecule is the resonance hybrid. Think of it like a mule, which is a hybrid of a horse and a donkey. It's not constantly switching between being a horse and a donkey, it's a distinct animal. The hybrid is more stable and has lower energy than any single hypothetical canonical form. Take the carbonate ion, Co2, as a classic example. We can draw 3 different Lewis structures, each with one C is equal to O double bond and 2 CO single bonds. But in reality, all 3 CO bonds are identical and intermediate in length between a single and a double bond, proving the existence of a resonance hybrid. Now that we've grasped the fundamentals, it's time to test your understanding with some easy practice questions. Read them carefully and try to apply what you've just learned about the definition, conditions, and basic examples of resonance. Don't worry if you find them challenging, it's all part of the learning process. Pause the video, solve them, and then check your answers. Ready to dive a bit deeper? In the medium level, we'll explore the why and how of resonance in more detail. At the heart of resonance is the concept of electron delocalization. Instead of electrons being stuck between just 2 atoms in a bond, they're spread out, or delocalized, over 3 or more atoms. This happens particularly with pi electrons in multiple bonds and lone pairs. This spreading out of electron density makes the molecule more stable, much like spreading out a heavy load makes it easier to carry. We follow strict rules when drawing resonance structures: only electrons move, not atoms, and each structure must be a valid Lewis structure. Also, the overall number of electron pairs must remain constant. Not all resonance structures are created equal. Some contribute more to the overall resonance hybrid than others. The more stable a canonical form is, the greater its contribution. Stability generally increases with more covalent bonds, less charge separation, and when negative charges are placed on more electronegative atoms. A complete octet for all atoms is also a significant stabilizing factor. The difference in energy between the resonance hybrid and the most stable canonical form is called resonance energy. This energy is a direct measure of the extra stability gained through electron delocalization. Higher resonance energy means a more stable molecule. Benzene is a perfect illustration of resonance. Its 2 Kekulé structures are resonance forms, but the actual benzene molecule is a resonance hybrid. This hybrid explains benzene's remarkable stability and why all its carbon-carbon bonds are identical, intermediate between single and double bonds. Resonance also plays a crucial role in explaining the acidity of carboxylic acids, where the negative charge on the carboxylate ion is delocalized over 2 oxygen atoms, stabilizing the conjugate base. These are just a couple of examples showing the wide-ranging impact of resonance in chemistry. Alright, it's time for some medium-level practice. These questions will challenge you to apply the rules for drawing resonance structures, evaluate their stability, and explain common chemical phenomena using the concept of resonance. Take your time, draw structures carefully, and think critically about the implications of electron delocalization. Good luck! Now, let's step up to the hard level. We'll tackle more intricate aspects of resonance, including its quantitative side and connections to other theories. While resonance is a theoretical concept, its stabilizing effect, known as resonance energy, can be estimated experimentally. For instance, by comparing the heat of hydrogenation of benzene with a hypothetical cyclohexatriene, we can quantify the extra stability benzene gains from resonance, which is substantial. Also, not all resonance structures contribute equally. Major contributors are more stable structures, often those with more covalent bonds and less charge separation, and they dominate the character of the resonance hybrid. Minor contributors are less stable and have a smaller influence. Understanding this hierarchy is key to predicting molecular properties. Let's distinguish between extended and cross-conjugation. Extended conjugation involves a continuous, uninterrupted chain of alternating single and multiple bonds, allowing extensive electron delocalization. Cross-conjugation, however, occurs when a conjugated system has a branch, and one part of the conjugation is not directly linked to another through a continuous chain. This often leads to less effective overall delocalization. Furthermore, resonance is intrinsically linked to aromaticity. Aromatic compounds, like benzene, are cyclic, planar, and follow Huckel's rule, 4n plus 2 pi electrons, exhibiting exceptional resonance stabilization far beyond typical conjugated systems. This unique stability defines their chemical behavior. Resonance is a powerful tool for understanding the stability of reaction intermediates. Carbocations, carbanions, and free radicals are often stabilized by resonance, making them more persistent and influencing reaction pathways. For example, allylic and benzylic carbocations are significantly more stable than simple alkyl carbocations because the positive charge can be delocalized over multiple carbon atoms through resonance. This delocalization reduces the charge density at any single point, lowering the energy of the intermediate. However, it's crucial to remember that resonance is a model. The molecule doesn't switch between forms, it exists as the hybrid, and the model has its limitations in fully describing all aspects of molecular reality. You've absorbed a lot of advanced concepts. Now, let's challenge your analytical skills with these hard-level practice questions. They require a deeper understanding of resonance energy, stability rules, and its applications in aromaticity and reaction mechanisms. Think critically, apply the rules, and try to justify your answers with sound chemical reasoning. You've got this. Welcome to the hardest level. Here, we'll explore resonance with the depth required for competitive exams, connecting it to advanced theories and real-world applications. While resonance theory is incredibly useful, molecular orbital (MO) theory offers a more accurate, fundamental explanation. Instead of drawing multiple Lewis structures, MO theory describes electrons occupying delocalized molecular orbitals that span across several atoms. In conjugated systems, atomic p orbitals combine to form these extended pi molecular orbitals, leading to lower energy states and greater stability. For instance, benzene's exceptional stability is best understood by its 6 p orbitals forming 6 delocalized pi MOs, where the 6 pi electrons occupy the 3 bonding MOs, resulting in significant energetic stabilization. This MO perspective moves beyond the limitations of drawing discrete bonds. Let's clarify the relationship between hyperconjugation and resonance. Both phenomena involve electron delocalization and lead to molecular stabilization. However, resonance primarily involves pi electrons and lone pairs, while hyperconjugation involves the delocalization of sigma electrons, typically from CH or C to C bonds, into an adjacent empty or partially filled p orbital, or a pi system. While resonance is generally a stronger effect, hyperconjugation is critical for explaining the stability of alkyl-substituted carbocations and alkenes. Furthermore, resonance isn't just for organic molecules, it's vital in inorganic chemistry too. Polyatomic ions like nitrate and phosphate owe their uniform bond lengths and stability to resonance. Even complex bonding in metal carbonyls, involving synergic backbonding, can be understood as a form of resonance. Resonance profoundly influences the chemistry of heteroaromatic compounds. In pyrrole, furan, and thiophene, a lone pair on the heteroatom contributes to the aromatic pi system, fulfilling Huckel's rule and making the ring aromatic. This participation significantly reduces the basicity of the heteroatom as its lone pair is delocalized. In contrast, in pyridine, the nitrogen's lone pair is in an sp superscript 2 orbital, orthogonal to the pi system, and thus does not participate in aromaticity. This lone pair is available for protonation, making pyridine a base. Beyond this, resonance is fundamental to understanding complex organic reactions, from electrophilic aromatic substitution directing effects to the reactivity of conjugated systems in Diels-Alder reactions, dictating reaction pathways and product formation. The extent of resonance stabilization is not always uniform. Factors like molecular planarity are crucial. Steric hindrance can twist a molecule out of planarity, reducing p-orbital overlap and thus diminishing resonance. Electronegativity differences within a molecule can also affect the distribution of formal charges and the stability of contributing structures. Finally, computational chemistry has revolutionized our understanding of resonance. Advanced methods like DFT can accurately calculate resonance energies, visualize electron density distributions in resonance hybrids, and provide quantitative data that moves beyond qualitative descriptions. This allows chemists to predict and understand the behavior of molecules with unprecedented precision, bridging the gap between theoretical models and experimental observations. You've journeyed through the most advanced aspects of resonance. Now, it's time to truly challenge your competitive exam readiness with these first 5 hardest level questions. These questions demand a comprehensive understanding, critical analysis, and the ability to connect resonance to other chemical theories. Approach them with confidence and precision. Good luck! Let's continue to push your boundaries with the remaining 5 hardest level questions. These questions are designed to test your deepest insights into resonance, its applications, and its limitations. Remember to think multidimensionally and integrate concepts from various areas of chemistry. This is where true mastery is demonstrated. Give it your best shot. Fantastic work today, mastering the intricate world of resonance. You've navigated from the basics to the most advanced concepts, building a robust understanding crucial for GME. Remember, consistent practice is key to success. For more such engaging and in-depth educational content, make sure to visit synapse.omaps.in. And if you found this session helpful, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting chemistry lessons. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep aiming for excellence. See you in the next session.